Friday, welcome to a Sunday. It's a pretty nice day. It was a pretty nice weekend. The story this week is going to be heat in the Bay Area and on the West Coast. Out Phoenix, Los Angeles. There's going to be our first real run in, especially in California, with some excessive heat. And so the National Weather Service is responding accordingly, pushing out some heat advisories, heat warnings. Temperatures in the Central Valley could reach 100 to 105, 108 degrees. Sacramento, Granite Bay, places like that. So I was looking at it going, okay, we know heat it's the biggest killer of all weather phenomena, right? More than hurricanes, more than tornadoes, more than lightning, more than wind, more than anything, because heat is ubiquitous. And especially when it's a heat dome over the Central Valley, you're going to see thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people from Fresno to Sacramento to Redding that are impacted. And so the thing I did, and you think, okay, well, yeah, that's a lot. It's a drag. They're going to have to use fans or drink a lot of water. But you really think about it, which I'd never really thought about. But heat can exacerbate pre-existing medical conditions. So you may be fine getting yourself some water or whatever, but it can exacerbate diabetes. It can exacerbate cardiovascular disease. It's a critical medical emergency. I just kind of wrote it out here because I didn't want to forget, because it really is. I used to, when I was young, I was like, well, heat advisories, whatever. But when you realize how ubiquitous it is, how many people and animals it affects old people, it affects kids, because they're less in little pets, because they're less likely to be able to regulate their heat. And so if the body overheats, that's a great quick way to die. Not a great way to die, but it's just a bad thing. So heat is the thing. Heat is going to get hot around here this next Tuesday and Wednesday. Central Valley is going to be the main spot for the heat. And we are looking at, again, 105, 108 degrees possible up in Sacramento area. Here's what the National Weather Service has put out. This is the kind of their front page, which is National Weather Service Monterey. It's in my links. The red represents the heat warning or watch, which will turn into a heat warning probably on Tuesday. And the orange represents a heat advisory. Obviously, the orange, a lesser alert. Temperatures aren't going to hit 108 degrees, but Bay Area locations like Vacaville could easily hit 99, 98, maybe 100. Areas that's on our far inland Bay Valley. Santa Rosa could hit 98 degrees. I mean, it's going to be hot, and that's Tuesday, Wednesday. So let's take a look at how this sort of plays out in terms of the fog at the coast. There will be a bit of fog at the coast. Tomorrow, the heat doesn't start. Tomorrow, it kind of just fluctuates a little bit upward. It's Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'm out front of this just because it's all you're going to hear about this week is the heat advisory, or in the potential for massive heat in the Bay Area, which is, again, our first run of heat. The other thing that happens too is, and you see it a lot with the power grids, right, is you start pulling air conditioners. Air conditioners pull a lot of electricity. And so the power grids, you can have rolling brownouts. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen, but it is a West Coast event. So it wouldn't be hard to imagine that occurring. And then you think, okay, well, if you do have rolling brownouts and the heat is ubiquitous and people are living in trailers out in Lodi and they can't turn their air conditioner on and they're old or they're sick and have diabetes, it's a real deal. It can be, I'm sure it can be very stressful on a lot of folks. This is the current situation for weather right now. You can see the surface plots, if you will. So there's Santa Rosa right now. It's 81 degrees. The wind in Santa Rosa is blowing. That stick is blowing towards the ball, that black thing. That stick that's a south wind, almost southeast, a little bit east or southeast wind, about 5 knots. So we can check Sacramento right now. They're at 79 degrees. They're going to get up into the 80s today. But like I say, in a couple of days, they're really going to get going in terms of the heat. The fog is going to play tag at the coast the next couple of days. Tuesday, Wednesday, it might be around a little bit, but it will not be going very far inland. It's going to hang right at the coast. And one of the things, I just saw this guy walking his dog down the beach. The other thing I wanted to point out is when you get significant heat when you, let's say you're in Vacaville, you got 100 degrees in the middle at 3 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. The sidewalk is re-radiating heat. So where you are, you're at about 5 feet above average above the ground. Your head level, your ears, your eyes, your nose, you're probably, if it's 100 degrees ambient, that's probably what the temperature is around your head. But if you drop down 4 feet right by that concrete, it's like touching a stove versus putting your hand away and feeling the heat, but get real close to that stove. It's a stove. And so pets, especially, and kids, anything low down, close to the ground, it's really, whenever I see people walking their dogs on a hot day or running their dogs on a hot day on concrete, even an 80-degree day, which isn't horribly hot, it's brutal on them. It could be 100 degrees down on the pavement on an 80-degree day. That's a lot, maybe even more. Okay, so this is the model. I wanted to show you the mechanism for the cool or for the wind. What's going to happen, or there will be wind, but for the heat. The situation here is to the north. This is right now, and then this is into Tuesday morning. Let me back it up a little bit. So see this system here? It goes through. So this is Sunday, Monday morning. So Sunday, Monday, today, Monday, pretty pleasant. This low goes through. It actually rains almost as far south as Cape Mendocino, right? That's almost as far south as Jenner. It's not quite, but some scattered showers. So the low goes through, the high jumps in. And when the high jumps in, it creates an offshore wind. So as the high jumps in right about here, I don't know if you saw let's see if I can point this out to you, but you see the isobars starting to kink a little bit. Let me see if I can do this. Here we go. So these isobars are those ones that turn. I'm going across the isobars, but these are the isobars, those lines right there, those two things. When that starts to curve like that, that's when the winds start to go offshore. That's an indication, a sure indication of high pressure. It's an indication of sinking air, and the sinking air is, let's see if I can get this out of here. Clear, there we go. The sinking air, it heats as it sinks. So cooler air, or air when it rises, cools about 3 degrees per 1,000 feet. But when air sinks, which it will be doing Tuesday, Wednesday, the air compresses, gets kinetic, the molecules get connected, and they heat. And when they heat up, it heats up about 5 degrees per 1,000 feet. So it's going to get really, really warm around here when those isobars do that. So here we are into Wednesday. See how they're turning above? The isobars are turning up there around Redding. And then it goes back onshore here. A strong, pretty onshore breeze. That's Wednesday night. That's probably when the fog comes back. So I know it's a lot. But it's, it's what's going to happen. So the heat is the headline for the weather for this week. And I think because you're going to have power grid stuff. And again, the pre-existing thing, I think that's something to consider. Thinking about, it's funny, I've been doing this a long time. I never really thought about that. I always thought, okay, yeah, little kids, old people without shelter, but I never really thought about, oh my God, yeah, if you have asthma or something like that. So, and if you have those conditions, I just never knew that. So something to take note of. We'll keep an eye on it. I'll probably put a post in here tomorrow or Tuesday to talk about what's coming and if it is going to verify, but it looks like it's going to be pretty hot Tuesday, Wednesday this week.